thousands of people witness the same impossible thing at the exact same moment, the assumption is usually that there must be a logical explanation, a shared misunderstanding, a visual illusion, a rumor spreading faster than facts. The Blackout incident challenged that assumption, because when the lights went out across the city of Ashford on the night of July 14th, 2016, people were separated by miles, isolated in homes, vehicles, office buildings, and subway stations. Many had no way of communicating with one another. Yet when power returned 6 minutes later, thousands of reports described the same figure, standing in the same place, watching. Ashford was a modern city of roughly 600,000 residents. Its electrical grid was considered stable and well-maintained. Prior to 2016, the city had never experienced a major unexplained outage. The evening of July 14th began normally. Traffic moved through downtown as expected. Restaurants were busy. Office workers were returning home. Weather conditions were clear. Nothing suggested that the city was about to become the center of one of the strangest mass sighting events ever documented.
At 9:41 p.m., electrical monitoring stations detected a sudden disturbance moving through the municipal power grid. Engineers initially believed the anomaly was a routine equipment failure. 32 seconds later, every major section of the city lost power simultaneously. Streetlights shut down. Traffic signals failed. Buildings went dark. Emergency backup systems activated in some locations, but not all. For exactly 6 minutes, Ashford entered complete darkness. The outage itself was unusual. What happened during those 6 minutes was far more disturbing. The first emergency calls arrived before power returned. Dispatch operators received reports from residents claiming they could see an unidentified person standing outside. The descriptions were remarkably specific. The individual appeared unusually tall, completely motionless, dressed in dark clothing, standing beneath areas where streetlights had gone dark. At first, operators assumed callers were reporting suspicious activity, but as more calls arrived, a pattern emerged.
The figure was supposedly being seen all across the city at the same time. That should have been impossible. One person cannot occupy dozens of locations simultaneously. Yet witnesses continued describing the same appearance, the same posture, the same unsettling stillness. At 9:47 p.m., power returned. The outage ended. For most cities, that would have been the conclusion of the story. Instead, it marked the beginning. Within hours, local police had received over 3,000 reports connected to the blackout. Witnesses ranged from teenagers to retirees. Many had no connection to one another. Most were unaware of the growing number of similar reports. Despite this, their descriptions matched with unusual consistency. The figure was estimated to be between 7 and 8 feet tall. Its face could never be clearly seen. Witnesses consistently described it as standing beneath darkened areas, street corners, parking lots, intersections, apartment courtyards.
Every report claimed the figure remained completely still.
No one reported seeing it arrive. No one reported seeing it leave. It was simply there, watching. Investigators initially attributed the reports to panic and suggestion. The theory seemed reasonable until evidence began appearing. The first significant piece of evidence came from traffic cameras. Although the city's electrical failure disabled most systems, several battery-powered units remained active throughout the outage. Technicians reviewing footage discovered something unusual. In multiple recordings, a dark silhouette appeared in areas that should have been empty. The figure was visible only briefly, sometimes for a single frame, sometimes for several seconds. In every instance, it appeared larger than nearby individuals, and in every instance, the image quality degraded dramatically whenever the figure entered view.
Officials assumed equipment malfunction. Then additional footage emerged. Private security cameras from unrelated locations showed similar anomalies. Again and again, the same silhouette appeared. Always distant, always motionless, always present during the blackout. Never before, never afterward. As news of the sighting spread, investigators began conducting formal interviews. The testimonies revealed details that had not appeared in emergency reports. Many witnesses claimed the figure was not merely standing nearby. It appeared to be looking directly at them, even when physical obstacles should have prevented eye contact. Several individuals described a sensation of being singled out, observed, studied. One witness stated that although the figure stood nearly 100 yards away, she felt certain it knew exactly where she was. Another reported feeling an overwhelming urge to walk toward it. He resisted the impulse and remained inside his vehicle until power returned. Others claimed they experienced temporary memory gaps. They remembered seeing the figure, then they remembered the lights coming back on. Everything in between seemed missing. These reports attracted the attention of researchers from multiple fields.
Psychologists suggested stress-induced perception errors. Neurologists proposed unusual responses to sudden darkness. Neither explanation fully accounted for the consistency of the descriptions. Then investigators uncovered the subway recordings. During the blackout, several underground stations continued operating on emergency power. Security cameras remained active. One station in particular became the focus of intense scrutiny. At 9:43 p.m., a camera overlooking an empty platform recorded a dark shape appearing at the far end of the tunnel. The shape resembled a human figure. Over the next 2 minutes, it moved closer, not walking, not running, simply appearing closer in each successive frame. When technicians calculated the distances involved, the movement made no sense. The figure seemed to traverse hundreds of feet without any observable motion.
Passengers waiting on the platform did not appear to notice. Then, at 9:46 p.m., the figure vanished entirely. No departure was recorded. It simply ceased to exist between frames. The footage remains publicly available. No satisfactory explanation has been offered.
As investigators continued reviewing evidence, another pattern emerged. Not everyone had seen the figure. Approximately 12% of surveyed residents reported no unusual observations during the blackout. The remaining witnesses described nearly identical experiences. Researchers attempted to determine what separated the two groups. Age was irrelevant. Location was irrelevant. Occupation was irrelevant. No common factor could be identified. However, interviews uncovered one disturbing detail. Many witnesses independently reported hearing a sound immediately before noticing the figure. The descriptions varied slightly. Some called it a hum. Others described a low-frequency vibration. Several compared it to distant electrical equipment. The sound reportedly lasted only a few seconds. Then, the figure appeared. Audio specialists examined recordings captured during the outage. Most contained nothing unusual. One exception came from a parking garage security microphone. The recording captured a faint tone beginning moments before the blackout. The frequency measured approximately 19 Hz, low enough to cause physical discomfort in some individuals. The tone persisted for 17 seconds, then abruptly stopped.
Investigators never identified its source. 3 days after the incident, a new development complicated the case further. A local university released the results of an independent survey involving nearly 800 witnesses. Participants were asked to sketch the figure they had observed. The results were startling. Although artistic quality varied dramatically, the drawings shared numerous characteristics: extreme height, long limbs, a featureless face, and one additional detail that had not appeared in most witness statements: the hands. Many sketches depicted unusually long fingers. In some drawings, the fingers extended nearly to the knees. Researchers initially dismissed the similarity as coincidence. Then they reviewed the interview transcripts. Dozens of witnesses had mentioned the hands.
The details simply had not been included in official summaries. The consistency became difficult to ignore. A month later, the investigation took an unexpected turn. Engineers examining electrical records discovered that the blackout had not originated from equipment failure. The disturbance appeared to have entered the grid from an unknown external source. Power stations across the city recorded identical anomalies at precisely the same moment. The event behaved less like a system malfunction and more like an incoming signal. No known technology matched the recorded pattern.
Federal agencies reviewed the findings. No public explanation followed. The most unsettling evidence surfaced nearly a year later. A data analyst reviewing archived emergency calls noticed a recurring phrase. Witnesses from different parts of the city had made nearly identical statements. Not descriptions of the figure, descriptions of its behavior. The analyst identified 73 separate callers who used nearly the same wording. Each reported the feeling that the figure was counting. Not moving, not hunting, counting. When asked why they believed this, none could provide a clear answer. They simply felt certain. One caller described the sensation as a fact implanted directly into his thoughts.
Another stated that the figure seemed to be examining people one by one, as if conducting a census. The theory gained little attention at the time, until investigators compared witness locations. Of the thousands who reported seeing the figure, nearly everyone had direct line of sight toward it. The people who never saw the figure generally did not.
It was as though visibility itself mattered, as though the figure needed to observe someone to be observed in return. No one could explain why. Officially, the blackout incident remains unsolved. The outage was attributed to a rare grid failure. The sightings were categorized as a combination of stress responses and mass suggestion. The explanation satisfied few people involved in the investigation, especially those who reviewed the recordings, because some anomalies were never addressed. For example, several cameras continued capturing images for up to 20 seconds after losing power. No one explained how. And in multiple recordings, the figure appears visible before the blackout actually begins, only for a frame or two, easy to miss, but present, waiting. There is one final piece of evidence. It was discovered during a routine audit of city infrastructure records 2 years after the incident. At exactly 9:41 p.m., the moment the blackout began, an automated monitoring system generated a corrupted log entry. Most of the file was unreadable. Only one sentence could be recovered. Investigators never determined where the message originated. The text read, "Population acknowledged. Observation complete." The file contained no author, no source identifier, no associated process. Just the message. Since 2016, Ashford has not experienced another citywide blackout. Yet reports continue to appear online every July 14th. Individuals claim to see a tall silhouette standing beneath streetlights moments before midnight, usually at a distance, usually only for a second. Most dismiss it as imagination. A few take photographs. The images are never clear, and according to several witnesses, the figure always disappears the moment it realizes it has been noticed. Not because it is hiding, because it has already finished looking. And if the reports are true, it may still be